It's time. It's Swain Event time.
My man.
It is time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. This is real sports talk for the real sports fan. Talk to him, Swain.
Give it to his mouth and a Ric Flair.
Swain Event, SwainEvent.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. 865-255-03 is the number to the Garza Law hotline, GarzaLaw.com. My good friend Ben McKee, Go Vols 247, rocking his Aaron Rodgers jersey underneath his Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt this morning because feeling like fall outside, so you got to be nice and warm. I'm live here in the Low T Center studio. Ben McKee, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Good morning.
I'm hanging in there, doing well. Happy to be with you this morning. Happy to be at home doing the show and not in my car in a parking lot on campus prior to practice because Tennessee is off today. So I'm doing well. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm here, man. I'm good. I'm here. I've been thinking about the offensive line coach's comments over the last day or two about the potential starting center, William Satterwhite, when he talked about getting those snaps back there consistently on target, along with him working on his body. And I was like, between January and where we are right now, that's the time you get that done, and you do that, and you lose that weight, you gain that weight. You work on your body, and maybe it's an ongoing thing because, hey, I mean, you can fall off the wagon one way or the other. I mean, you can gain too much weight, you can lose too much weight. Jalen Hyatt was a guy that could not gain weight. I had some teammates on my team that was, banned from ordering Gus's, Good Times Deli, because they need to lose weight. And so, as someone that's been through that summer where you're trying to lose 10, 15 pounds, you get down to your best playing weight, like that's the time you do it. It's hard to do it during the regular season because you got to eat your carbs. You got to have that energy that you need for the games on Saturday. And so we've talked about different positions on the field, offensively and defensively, but we've looked at the offensive line that has the potential, Ben, to be better this year. And it would be ideal if William Satterwhite is your starting center. That way you don't have to move other guys around. And I just need William Satterwhite to understand, man, you redshirted last year to prepare yourself for this opportunity. So that way you can be ready and you can take full advantage of it. And so to hear Ellaby talk about what he needs to do, my initial reaction, Ben, was, what have we been doing the whole redshirt year? What have we've been doing the whole entire year 2025? So I just hope that he is understanding that he has the opportunity to be, and I turn it over to you, he has the opportunity to be Cooper Mays over the next 4 years. Like, he has a chance to lock this thing down, man, and I hope he understands that. He gets a chance to do that.
I took the comment as his body was still a work in progress, not that he has not been doing what he was supposed to do. Of course, Glenn Ellerbe is is not going to come out and say, hey, William Satterwhite's done an awful job of taking care of his body. But he was asked kind of where he is at, what he's working on. And I took it as he's a young guy, second year in the program, that's still a work in progress. Some guys can come in right away and change their body immediately. Other guys, it takes a little bit longer. And so he's got a smaller frame. So I took it as LRB insinuating that he just needs to continue to add strength to that smaller frame, not in the sense that he's done a poor job of getting his body ready for the season, but just that because he is still a younger player, that is still a work in progress. The more concerning part of those comments were the other part that you mentioned, the snaps, and how he said that he does a good job of identifying things that the defense is going to do, like the football IQ part of it. He complimented William Satterwhite for, which is obviously a key piece at that center position. And then he talked about him needing to clean up some snaps. And to me, that was the far more concerning piece of it. But again, he is a young guy. He was not David Sanders Jr. coming out of high school. I mean, he is more of a developmental prospect. And I've been consistent in my thinking that I don't know it's the best thing to rely on a young player at that position that is a developmental prospect. But that's the situation that Tennessee is in now. But I would actually argue, to your point, that I don't know that Tennessee's best combination of five is with William Satterwhite at center because of the emergence of Jesse Perry and Sham Umarov. I mean, I think that Jesse Perry and Sham Umarov might be a better option at right guard than Sam Pendleton right now. And if that's the case, then I think Tennessee's best five would be with Pendleton at center, which is why I think you've seen Pendleton move over to center and start repping at center because of the emergence of Jesse Perry and Sham Umarov. And I would quickly buy stock in those two players if you haven't already, because I think they are starting to turn heads, especially Jesse Perry for how quickly he has developed and changed his body. On the flip side of William Satterwhite, Jesse Perry's added 50 pounds since he got here and did very, very little pass protection when he was in high school. I believe he was at Donaldson Christian there in the mid-state in Murfreesboro. He was at some small private school, and I remember watching him. I went and talked to him when he played at TKA, the Kings Academy, as a senior, and he was just bigger than everybody and height-wise mostly, also thicker than everybody, even if he needed to gain weight as an offensive lineman. But they ran the wing T or something along those lines, so he was just asked to run block every single game, and he has just totally transformed his body. He's picked up in pass protection, and I think he's made a home at right guard, and I think he's in for a solid season. So I don't know that William Satterwhite at center is Tennessee's best combination. I think it might be with Pendleton at center and then either Perry or Umarov over there at right guard.
Yeah, that's kind of my point. I mean, William Satterwhite, you want to be one of the five best options on the offensive line. I mean, there's an opportunity for you to be the starter for the next four years, and I'm not sitting here saying that Satterwhite hasn't worked hard, hasn't done what he needed to do, what's asked of him. But what I am saying is there's a young fellow that I know is a Yankees and Steelers fan that always says something about being ready and staying ready and getting ready. What was that, Ben?
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
So when my man Satterwhite got here as a freshman, and you knew that Cooper Mays was the starting center, and you knew this was the last year, your whole entire freshman year, January.
He had a massive head start. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the sense of urgency from the get-go should have been, not saying it wasn't, should have been 2025, that is my spot. That is where I'm going to start. Everybody wants to come in as a true freshman and start day one, but there's a clear opportunity for me to take over this spot, and there's no reason not to be ready to go when you have all the resources at your fingertips. And I get it. Everyone is different. Everyone's body type is different. Everyone is able to. Some dudes don't have to lift weights, and they cock strong and country strong. Some guys it's a little bit harder. So genetics is a big part of your physical makeup, and I get all that. But at the same time, you know what you got to do at offensive line. You got to be strong. You got to be able to move in this offense. You understand that. And being a player that played as a true freshman, played in every single game, having teammates that redshirted, seeing Gerard Mayo didn't play his first year, and then seeing how ready he was when he did play, that dude was preparing for 12 months plus to take over and be the guy. Mentally, he was ready. Physically, he was ready. So all I'm saying is, as a redshirt freshman, coming into this opportunity, and for months, we, the media, said, hey, man, William Satterwhite, if he take, there's opportunity for him. When Glenn Ellerby is commenting on the snaps, I'm like, hey, man, to me, that's no different than a receiver coach talking about drops with the redshirt freshman. There's a jug machine. It's there at your disposal. Work on it every day to the point where it shouldn't be a weakness at this point. If you show me all the dudes that one year couldn't shoot the basketball, and then they come back the next year and they're a better shooter, what do you think happened in the offseason, man?
They shot the basketball, which is what you're going to see with Cade Phillips this upcoming season.
Yes.
Cade Phillips has put a lot of work in to really become a good shooter, and I think he's going to be a good, serviceable shooter for Tennessee this year.
So that's my point. Like,
shoot, you saw Jemai Meshack put a lot of work in last offseason to become a more efficient shooter. He wasn't asked to shoot a ton this past season at Tennessee, but early returns in Summer League are that work from last offseason that we had several conversations about. It's small sample size, but starting to pay off for him.
Listen, man, I was lucky enough to witness a young man here locally by the name of Cooper Crook. I've known this family for 15 years or so. I've seen these three kids grow up. Daughter is grown. The youngest one is, I want to say, a junior, senior at Catholic. I want to say senior, same grade as my daughter. And the middle child, I visit these young men when they were in middle school. Went to go have lunch with them. Like, these are family friends. Cooper Crook had a goal of playing college football. And I'm looking at this little white boy, Ben, and I'm like, I don't know if he's going to play college football. I don't know. But I was like, yeah, man, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. He wasn't over the top athletic, but he found a position that would allow him to play college football. You know what that position is? A position on the football field.
Long snapper.
Long snapper. There you go. He just worked and worked and worked and worked as a long snapper. That's all he did, my man, as a long snapper. Went to camp, to camp, to camp, long snap. Scholarship. He plays at Boston College right now. He got a scholarship to Boston College. Has some other offers. But that's all he did was long snap. So I look at long snapping like catching a ball, like shooting a basketball. It's about repetition. And if you do it enough, you're going to be better at it. And so I'm not getting on William Satterwhite like, oh, come on, man. I'm just like, yo, man, do you understand what type of opportunity this is? I would look at this no differently than if Mike Matthews is out there dropping all the balls. I would be like, yo, do you know what opportunity you have right now? You are a second-year player with the opportunity to own the position for the next 3 to 4 years. Not many people have that opportunity. So that's why I brought up the quotes from William Satterwhite from Ellerby, because I'm like, yo, man, this thing is yours, dude. Go take it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I certainly hear you and
Yeah.
agree with everything you're saying. But I'd be lying if I don't kind of look at the coaches first for putting themselves in that position, because William Satterwhite was he a prospect that it was reasonable to think that he would totally take command of the center position going into his second year in the program? You hope so, but my point is he was a more developmental prospect coming out of high school than a David Sanders Jr. or somebody like that. So I kind of look at the question here on the text box from Chip Payne. For an offensive-minded head coach, why does it look like the offense is always behind the 8 ball with planning for the future? The defense has been the straw that stirs the drink for the last 2 seasons and will clearly do it again this year. That's kind of where my mind is at with the William Satterwhite conversation is like, yes, it was a great opportunity for William Satterwhite. He had a huge lead on the competition to win that job, but I kind of look at the coaches for not being a bit more prepared there. And look, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on them, because you did go get Sam Pendleton, and you can slide him over to play center, which it seems like is probably going to be the case. Now, Sam Pendleton has been banged up the last couple of days, so he needs to get back out there and have a strong scrimmage on Saturday. So I don't know that the hay is in the barn. It's definitely going to be Sam Pendleton. He still needs to go earn it and prove himself. But that's kind of where my mind goes initially is why wasn't the offensive staff a bit more prepared to where I don't think it's smart to rely on a young developmental prospect along the offensive line, and that's what they did at the center position this offseason. You didn't have David Sanders Jr. coming in to play center. You knew right tackle was going to be wide open. You went and got a 5-star offensive tackle that could play right away. I know there's not 5-star centers walking around because your 5-star offensive linemen are playing tackle in high school, but I don't know that they necessarily prepared to fill Cooper's shoes as best as they could. That's where my mind goes first. I agree with everything you said about Satterwhite. He had a huge leg up on his teammates for that spot.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it doesn't seem like he took advantage of it. Of course, he still may be the starter and have a terrific season. We'll have to wait and see how he handles it. And again, Glenn Ellerby was asked, like, what is he working on? And he said what he was working on. There's not a player on the field that isn't working on things. And I'm sure if we gave every assistant coach truth serum and said, what is this player working on, that player working on, we'd be having similar conversations about every player on the team. Like, hey, why aren't you better in this area with how much time you've had? But it's certainly a concern as Tennessee enters scrimmage 1 on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with concerns. Because every team in the country comes into this season with some concerns, whether it's replacing new players or playing young dudes, or maybe not having the depth that you thought you needed or wish you had at a certain position. So everyone has concerns. In 22, we had concerns, but the team answered it with the play of the offensive line that was proven to be vital and Tennessee's ability to go execute and get out and get explosive plays in the passing game, pushing the ball down the football field. So every team has concerns. It's about you answering them at the right time of the season. You don't want the same concerns that you had at the beginning of the season at the end of the season. Your schedule probably not going to work out in your favor. 865-255-03. Let's hit the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Tremel is awake this morning. Brian Hunsaker says, with Pendleton's ability to play guard and center, the ideal scenario is to play your best five. And judging by Ellaby's comments yesterday in practice reports, Jesse Perry at guard and Pendleton at center is the best combination. Yeah, that's the goal. You play your best five, 100%. At the end of the day, that's what I care about. Like, I've never met. Let me take that back. You just never know. Sometimes I do meet players. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And I'll put two and two together. So I won't sit here and say that I haven't met a player because I probably did meet him in passing and didn't know it. All right, let me make sure. Let me make sure he'll be in. But I don't have any favoritism towards a player. I never met William Satterwhite. So I don't care who starts. I just want the best five out there. I just want my team to win. That's all I care about. And so if the best five excludes William Satterwhite, then okay, cool, whatever. When you got Pendleton from Notre Dame, that was an important part of his recruiting profile is that he was versatile. He could play multiple positions. So it gives you some flexibility. You do have Sham Umaroff, who was on the cusp, last year of breaking through. And so with him and Jesse Perry breaking through, it gives Tennessee and LB more options. So this is not a bad thing. It's just the unknown because we haven't seen these guys start and take on this type of role, which I'm excited to see those guys do that.
And in addition to Umarov and Perry, Glenn Ellerby did make the comment that he feels Glenn Ellerby he prefers to rotate bodies throughout the game. I mean, I don't think he's going to be rotating bodies as often as Rodney Garner is. There has to be some semblance of cohesion and stringing together a lot of snaps being played together if you're an offensive line. But he said that he thinks that they have established enough depth at tackle. We've been talking about the interior offensive line, but he feels like they have enough depth at tackle to where they'll be able to rotate this season if they want and if they need to as well, which is obviously a good thing. You're going to have Lance Hurd at left tackle and David Sanders Jr. at right tackle, but sounds like Bennett Warren is coming along nicely, another young offensive lineman. Jeremiah's Hurd, I don't know about the football perspective, but I know in terms of passing the eye test, he looks like $1 million, just like Lance Hurd does. He's completely transformed his body as Lance's backup at left tackle. So maybe Larry Johnson III was still developing last season, but he was serviceable if you threw him in the game. Sounds like you'll have a couple of more Larry Johnson IIIs this year, if that makes sense, in terms of potentially being in a pinch if somebody goes down, and there's a level of comfort there if you need to throw in a third or fourth tackle, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing because that has not been the case really up until this point, outside of Larry Johnson here and there.
No, 100%. Had a question on the text box that I want to get to, but I want to make sure that I had the ducks in a row before answering that. It was about LB's first offensive line recruit making a start, and the question was from John K. in South Carolina: is Jesse Perry the first LB recruit to start on the offensive line? Well,
high school recruit.
Yeah, first high school recruit, because we've seen transfers come in, but high school recruit. And if Jason Perry,
Satterwhite or Perry would be the first.
yeah, if those guys were to start, then yes.
Well,
If
I mean,
not,
I guess David Sanders Jr. is going to start, so you may have a couple. You will have a couple most likely. You'll have David Sanders Jr. and then you'll have one of the interior spots.
So you could have two,
maybe three. Maybe William Satterwhite, and maybe Satterwhite starts at center, and maybe Perry and Umarov. One of those start at right guard next to Satterwhite.
Maybe so.
Because I will say on Pendleton, he's not as up to speed as Wendell Moy is. Like Wendell Moy is 100% plug and play, ready to go. There's still a bit of development needed for Pendleton. He's not as plug and play as maybe we initially thought, or at least at the same level as Wendell Moy. At least in my mind, I viewed those guys as equal in terms of ability going into the season and kind of the ability to have an instant impact. And I would say that Wendell Moy is ahead of Sam Pendleton, which makes sense because Wendell Moy is older and played an extra year of college football.
Yeah. Options. You have options there at offensive line.
You haven't always had options at offensive line, so
No.
still young in some areas, but there are more reason for optimism than pessimism.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Chip Payne, for an offensive-minded coach, why does it look like the offense is always behind the eight ball with planning for the future? The defense has been the straw that stirs the drink for the last 2 seasons and will certainly do it again this year. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the answer is just misevaluation. I mean, that's really the answer.
I also, if this might be a bit harsh, but I think you have better coaches on the defensive side of the ball than you do the offensive side of the ball.
That's not harsh. That's just the truth. I mean, you can't go up against Rodney Garner and Martinez and all those dudes with experience. I mean, you got 3 dudes on the offensive side that they don't have the experience nowhere close to the guys on the defense side of the football. So that's not being harsh. That just is what it is. That's up to Heupel to make sure that's more balanced. Neil Mafia says Diego Pavia. He said he sucks. Time for him to hit him up at the end of November. I'll read the last part. Yeah, man, he had some strong comments that became public. Comments that he made before Tennessee played Vanderbilt last year, which honestly makes the comments that he had with Bussin' with the Boys even more mind-blowing because, like, going into the game, you supposed to talk like that. Man, Blake them, man, they ain't nothing, man. You supposed to talk like that. You supposed to have that type of language.
Tennessee players are talking about Alabama like that, Georgia like that, Florida like that.
You're supposed to disrespect the players like that, the guys you about to play up against in a closed setting. That ain't nothing wrong with that to me. But for him to go out there and have 8 completions and 10 drives, because I counted how many drives Vanderbilt had, and to be up 14-0, not because that he did anything great. The 7-0 was a kickoff return. The 14-0 was you got the ball at midfield because we fumbled. To be up 14-0 and lose by multiple scores, and you only have 8 completions as a quarterback, like a full-time quarterback. I think the receiver from Kentucky, when we lost him in 2011 or 12, had 8 completions. To be a quarterback in a full 60-minute football game and have 8 completions, I am absolutely shocked that he would say anything else publicly after that game. But you had those comments from Bustin' with the Boys podcast. I find Diego Pavia to be funny at this point. I said yesterday I think he needs to be drug tested.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what type of season he has, because he's done a lot of talking, and he is really feeling himself. And I do think he's a good quarterback, especially for Vanderbilt. But I'm starting to feel, it sounds like the way you're starting to feel is like at first it was an awesome story. Like if you set the Tennessee Vanderbilt rivalry, and yes, it is a rivalry, if you set that to the side, like that's a cool story. If you just look at it from a college football fan perspective, that's a cool story. But now it's almost, and you know, maybe the Tennessee side of it is starting to creep in, but maybe my point in saying that is like maybe an Alabama fan does not feel this way. Maybe a Oregon fan doesn't feel this way. Maybe they still think that Diego Pavia is a cool story. And to a certain extent it is, but now it's becoming less of a cool story to me and just kind of like a running bit. It's almost like he's a WWE wrestler at this point. Like it's almost become more about entertainment and flash and sizzle. It's almost like he's a Johnny Manziel wannabe at this point. And so I'm look, he's a good quarterback. I would not be surprised if he and Vanderbilt has success by their standards this season.
You want to talk about their standards?
Yes.
You want to talk about that tweet they had a couple days ago?
Oh, yes, the Birmingham Bowl. What is Vanderbilt doing? Like, I don't care if your standards are what they are. You still should not get Birmingham Bowl championship rings. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't care that last season was awesome for Vanderbilt. There's no denying that. It was, given what Vanderbilt football is and what it's been since kind of Derek Mason cooled off a little bit, because Derek Mason had a similar season during the Butch Pruitt era, somewhere in there. And since then, they've been just awful. One of the worst teams in the country, regardless of conference. So, like, last season was a good year for them. There's no denying that. But to go make Birmingham Bowl championship rings off of that is flat out embarrassing. I don't care if it's Vanderbilt football. They should be embarrassed and ashamed of themselves for that.
I'm going to the phones. 865-255-03. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I was anxious to talk about the Birmingham Bowl.
Oh
thing.
Man, I was anxious to change the subject, but but
are we having a
but I ain't gonna do it because it's you, Turkey Man.
Are we having a parade?
That's not what we do over here at Tennessee, man. We not getting Birmingham Bowl rings, let alone tweeting about it.
The funny part is, Turkey Man, to your point about a parade, Diego Pavia probably thinks the whole city of Nashville and the surrounding area of Nashville will show up for a Vanderbilt football parade.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the story they told a long time ago about this family moved in down there at Nashville, and they wanted to call and get season tickets, and they called the ticket office and asked they'd like to have season tickets to Vanderbilt games, football games, and the guy ticket office says, well, we'd be glad to get you season tickets there. So how many? He said, well, I've got 9 kids, and me and my wife said, we'd like to have 11 and season tickets. He says, and we sign you up. So, well, the guy asked him, said, well, when is the games? He said, when can you come? Yeah, when can you show up?
That explains why tickets were on sale at the Barnes and Noble a couple years ago.
Yes, sir. Hey, I was thinking about, and I'm gonna get off here in a minute, but I was thinking about what you talking about the Birmingham Bowl, and it took me back to Butch days and trying to put the trophy out front of the national championship trophy and the garbage we went through. So I feel like we're seeing a little bit of our past that we dealt with, and I can see future ahead of us now, which is brighter. But anyhow, I guess we all got a past, ain't we?
That's right, Turkey Man.
Hey, look like hindsight 2020. It looks like we would have understood, as I leave out here, hindsight's 2020. Looks like we was seeing how we played without a center when our center was hurt. How we could not perform, and if we can't if we can't be ahead of the chains, our fast offense is really quick and can punt because we have got to be mistake free. I'll get out, guys. Let's just go. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
All right, Turkey Man. 865-255-03. I think Turkey Man's ready for football season. That's what it sounds like. Oh man. All right, okay, man. I knew I was forgetting something today. Thank you, Camden, Tennessee Vol. I saw people on Twitter say the Syracuse guy didn't respect us. Yes, he did. If you're a player, don't speak my name unless you want this smoke. Don't dream about me at night unless
Unless you wake up and apologize.
Wake up and apologize.
What'd the Syracuse players say?
So we played it on Joshua Swain day before yesterday. It wasn't trash talk to me. It wasn't trash talk. If anything, it was soft and terrible. I had to pull up the quotes while you're talking, but it was not trash talk.
Well, while you find those, there were two receiver questions earlier in the show that I will answer once I can find them, because the text box is buzzing this morning. One of them I will paraphrase until I find it, but here it is from Vol Gnarly. Is there any so-called walk-ons at wideout that could possibly help the position out in a time of injury? And I actually think that answer is yes. I have been impressed, given their status within the receiver room, that they are reserves, and I don't know what we're calling them now since nobody's really walk-ons anymore. I mean, are they they're not practice players because they can technically play in a game, but they're not walk-ons because they're on scholarship. So I think I've been calling them reserves.
That's
but
good.
What's that?
So I think that's good.
But Tommy Winton III, who Tennessee recruited a little bit out of high school, he played at Catholic. He has a younger brother that has bounced around in terms of Knoxville high school. So forgive me if I am not identifying all the schools that they played for, but Tommy Winton, I believe, only played at Catholic, and I think his little brother is the one that bounced around. But he went to ETSU. Tennessee did offer him, but it doesn't seem like it was a committable offer out of high school. So he went up to ETSU and transferred back here to Tennessee. He's looked good running around in routes on air the 3 to 5 minutes a day that we get to see. And my point is, like, if you were watching practice and you had no knowledge of the receiver room, you would not think that he was any different than the other guys. Maybe that's not a good thing to say in regards to the other guys, but I'm saying that in the glass half full manner of out of respect and tipping my hat to Tommy Winton. Like, he looks good running around out there. And then there's also Trey Weary, the third, who is in the same situation in terms of status of being that reserve type of player, who he also has looked good this first week and a half, 2 weeks of fall camp. So they're guys that aren't going to get a lot of run unless there are injuries. But to the question, if they needed to play in a pinch, could they potentially help? I think the answer is yes with Tommy Winton III and Trey Weary. I think that those guys have looked good, have looked better than their status on the roster would dictate. And then the other receiver question was from John Kay in South Carolina. Have the wide receivers looked any better as camp has gone on? From what the media has seen, I would say yes. I would say that Wednesday's practice was their best day from what we were able to see. I thought routes on air was the cleanest that we have seen in the 6 practices that we have been out there. They kind of let it loose a little bit, and I mentioned Tuesday morning how they haven't really throwing the football down the field while we were there on Wednesday. Yesterday, they opened it up and was tossing around pretty good. And Mike Matthews was out there. I thought Mike Matthews looked good running around. He was in a red non-contact jersey, but I thought Mike Matthews looked good running around. I thought Jake Merklinger looked good as well. He was consistently putting the ball on the money. Joey, a little bit inconsistent in that regard. I thought George made some really nice throws. The last throw of the day we saw was a deep ball from George where he hit the receiver. It wasn't any of the scholarship receivers, but hit a receiver down the sideline in stride in what would have been the back of the end zone. It was a really nice throw. So I do think that they're getting better and starting to find more of a rhythm, at least within those couple of minutes that we got to see them. So we'll see how they perform on Saturday. I don't have high expectations just because the defense is ahead of the offense, and the receivers have been in and out of the lineup. It seems like somebody else is banged up and missing practice. Somebody different is missing practice every single day. Chris Brazel has yet to practice, although I do think he was out there with the team before the media got in there, and then he snuck away to do some conditioning off to the side. So it seems like Chris Brazel is close to getting back to practice after an off-season procedure. But then you had Mike Matthews miss a day, and now Braylon Staley is missing days. It's just been one guy after the next, which is not ideal when you're wanting to establish a rhythm early in practice. But it does seem like they are getting better, and things are getting better slowly but surely. And as I mentioned, I thought Wednesday's media viewing was the best that we have seen in terms of routes on air, which was nice to see because they made more difficult throws and ran more, I don't know that difficult is the right word, but more distinct routes, that they weren't just basic slants over the middle of the field or something out to the flat. They were intermediate routes, deep routes, and it was pretty clean. There was only one ball that hit the ground, which was from a scholarship player, which
here we go.
It was a bad drop, but it was a big step in the right direction from what we had seen.
Hey, there we go. So
and the tight ends continue to look like $1 million. I'll continue to say that. Miles Kitzelman looks awesome running around. Ethan Davis looks awesome running around. Desan Brame, Jack Van Dorseleer. That tight end room is a lot of fun to watch and what we are able to watch right now.
Hey, man, you media people, y'all something else, man.
Hey, just remember that you are part of the media as well.
Yeah, you media people, man, you think you're slick. So the trash talk, air quotes, for those who can't see me, that Camden Tennessee Fall was referring to from the Syracuse player, to me it ain't trash talk. First of all, you media people, you took part of what he said, not the full quote, but part of what he said, and part of it is when he was asked about playing Tennessee, he said it would be great for us to go down there and show them what we do in the ACC. Give them a tough game no matter what. We're going to stay where our feet are right now, but when that game comes, we'll show people how we really get down. That confident stuff, it matters, but it don't matter. First of all, y'all think this is trash talk? This is not trash talk.
I don't think that's trash talk.
This is the softest, most non-confident trash talk I've ever heard in my life. First of all, he says it'd be great for us to go down there and show them what we do in the ACC. What is that? What do y'all do in the ACC?
Somebody sent him a video of the Tennessee-NC State game from last year.
What? Please show us what you do in the ACC. We can't wait to see the ACC in action. Because the last time Tennessee's played an ACC team, clap those cheeks. Clemson, NC State. I mean, please show us what you do in ACC. We can't wait to see it, man. Can't wait to see it. So that was the first sentence I saw, and I was like, okay, all right. And then the next one was, and this is the worst one. This is the worst sentence of the quote. Give them a tough game. Man, what kind of trash talk is that?
That is
That's not
soft.
trash talk.
That I don't consider that trash talk or disrespectful. Now, if I were, what was the part about, showing them how the ACC does it?
It'd be great for us to go down there and show them what we do in the ACC. Give them a tough game, no matter what. We're going to stay where our feet are right now, which I don't know what that means. But when that game comes, we'll show people how we really get down. That confidence stuff, it matters, but it doesn't matter, or it don't matter.
What does that mean? The confidence matters, but it don't matter.
I don't know.
Now, look, I don't consider that trash talk or disrespectful. But if I were a strength coach at Tennessee, or if I was a position coach, I would clip those couple of words where it says we're going to show them how the ACC does it. I'm just going to clip that part and that part only.
Can you do it without laughing? Are you going to be able to do it without laughing?
Oh, the Nick Saban way, baby. The Michael Jordan way. You got to take anything you can get and use it as motivation. And I would do the Michael Jordan and Nick Saban on that one and post it in my room or show it in a meeting, or I would clip only those couple of words and have it posted in the weight room for a day, or posted in my meeting room for a day.
Who says give them a tough game? We want to give the opponent a tough game.
That's wild.
Who says that?
Nobody. That Syracuse player. What do we know? What position this Syracuse player plays?
Yeah, he plays linebacker.
Okay. Chip Payne said that's some Josh Ward trash talk right there.
That's the worst trash talk. There's nothing intimidating about that.
I feel even more confident about Tennessee beating Syracuse now.
Exactly. He's a redshirt freshman linebacker, number 45 for Team Diggs. I joked on Joshua Swain that if I'm the head coach, I'm more mad that he got us looking soft.
Give them a good game. I would rather the player come out and guarantee a win than say give them a good game.
Give them a tough game. Okay. Okay, so that means lose by 14 points because that's the spread. The spread is Tennessee by 14 points. No matter what, we're going to stay where our feet are right now, which I guess means they're worried about today. They're not going to look forward to the first game, even though it's the first game. Everybody's looking forward to the first game. It's okay to say you're looking forward to the first game. It's the first game. You can't say, well, we're looking forward to that Florida game, or we're looking forward to that Bama game.
Or it would be like a Tennessee player coming out and saying after the Diego Pavia stuff, we're really looking forward to that Vanderbilt game.
Yeah, like you can't say that.
It's the last game of the season.
You can't acknowledge any game but the first game or the current game that you're about to play. So it's okay to say we looking forward to the first game because it's the first game, man. It's okay. But man, they get these players all spooked out, making sure they don't say anything, and try to overdo it with the media training, and got them sound crazy because it sounds crazy. We'll show them how we really get down, bro. Y'all are picked 15th in the league this year.
Did Syracuse play an SEC team last year?
I don't know. They was pretty good though.
They were good, although they didn't. They beat Miami when Miami choked it away.
Miami did choke it away, but they were 10-3, man, last year.
Yeah, they were a good team for sure.
They're pretty good, but
they beat Georgia Tech. They beat UNLV in overtime. They beat NC State by a touchdown. They got killed by Pittsburgh. They beat Virginia Tech in overtime. They lost to Boston College. They barely beat Cal. They barely beat UConn. They beat Miami. And they killed Washington State in the Holiday Bowl. the DirecTV Holiday Bowl, but they did not play an SEC team last year.
Ben, don't like that. That was their like best team in a long time.
I know they were good last year.
A lot of dudes on that team ain't back. But yeah,
yes.
they're
but
12.
I think it's also fair to point out like those guys that aren't back, they also won a lot of close games last
With
year.
those guys.
They were on the right side of a lot of 50-50 games, which is a trait and a good skill set.
Man, we were too. But yeah, like they're picked 12th in the league. The only teams behind them is Boston College, Virginia, Cal, Wake Forest, and Stanford.
Is it okay if I say that this Syracuse game for Tennessee should be NC State Part 2? Am I allowed to say that? Is that a fair thought to have?
You can say it, but I'll disagree.
Why would you disagree? Tennessee should beat the brakes off of Syracuse.
Ben, do you understand how bad that game was last year?
I think Syracuse is going to be that bad. And contrary to my thoughts on the receiver position, I think that Tennessee's depth is going to overwhelm them.
Ben, I don't think you realize how bad that whooping was last year.
Oh, I do.
Now let me refresh your memory. NC State had one possession on offense where they draw the ball to the 30-yard line. It was their opening possession. They had KC Concepcion and motion. They were feeding him the ball. They were force feeding him the ball as if they had no one else. They got to the 30-yard line, and we shut them completely down. They kicked the field goal, missed it, and then that was over. It was a wrap. They did have one play where they sent Concepcion in motion, had him on a deep over route. Boo Carter was a little out of position. I mean, it's a true freshman playing in his first game. And they hit him for an explosive play. That was it, Ben. That was the game. Like, Tennessee should have put up 70 points against NC State. It was
they would
that
have
bad.
if they didn't take the foot off the gas.
It was that bad, man. It was that bad. You think
Then what would you say? How many points are you willing to say on August 7th Tennessee should beat Syracuse by? No less than 20.
Ben. We beat them by 41 points.
Okay, I'm asking it differently than the NC State comparison.
I mean, we should beat them by at least 17.
Okay.
But we beat NC State by 41, and you're like, hey, it's gonna be the same type of game. Like, bro,
I do. I think Tennessee's gonna the score. I mean, we'll see what the scoreboard says, but I think Tennessee is going to beat down Syracuse, and just simply put, Tennessee beat down NC State. So maybe the scoreboard won't be the exact same, but at the end of the day, I think Tennessee's going to beat down Syracuse.
At halftime, I was like, yo, man, we playing like trash. It was 20-3.
Well, there were a lot of missed opportunities down the field, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I was like,
and
man, we tripping, man. We tripping.
Funny how that played out.
In the third quarter, we hit 17 points, and in the fourth quarter, 14 points, 51-10. Like, the game was so bad, it wasn't even enjoyable to watch anymore. Like, it felt like we played.
It got boring quick.
Real quick. So now Syracuse is picked 12th in the league.
Like I just
I mean,
don't
it could get ugly,
like
but still.
that Syracuse offensive line against Tennessee's defensive front. Ain't nothing happening there.
So last year, I'm standing there on the sideline right before both teams come out, and I'm sitting there talking to John Fulkerson, and Grant Williams, and Grant was asking me, "Hey, what you think, man? You think we good?" I go, "We good, bro. Like we're good. We're gonna win this game. I don't know by how much, but we're gonna win this game." And I remember when NC State came out, because they came out and went to the opposite sideline. So I'm standing there on Tennessee's sideline, and I'm watching NC State kind of cross the field, and I always like to see who is mean mugging the opposite sideline. That's what I do. Most guys, keep their eyes forward. They hyped up, but they hyped up to themselves. It was just one dude that I saw. It was the backup running back who was the kick returner. He was a smaller back, and he had dreads or braids, whatever, coming out of his helmet. And as he was running, he turns and he hop skipping, looking, shaking his head like this, looking at Tennessee sideline. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be ugly. Dude, they folded him like a cheap chair, man. He was a backup running back, and they didn't have any rushing yards, didn't do anything on offense. They were crushing him, man. Their leading rusher had 6 carries for 25 yards. That's it. So when you say it's going to be just like the NC State game, that was a straight beatdown. That was straight beatdown.
I don't know if the scoreboard is going to be the exact same, but I do think that Tennessee's going to beat down Syracuse.
Oh, I think it's going to be a convincing win.
I can't wait to ask you this question again on August 29th. Or I guess for us, we will do the show Thursday, August 28th. So I look forward to asking you this question about 48 hours from kickoff.
Oh, boy, Chip Payne said that defensive rotation is going to have Syracuse and Fitz. Yes. Fran Brand did not teach him to trash talk. I'm telling you, man, Fran Brand was probably disappointed. Like, Fran Brown came from Georgia. You think Kirby trash talking his players, trash talking the other team with his players like that? Fran Brown probably saw those comments and shook his head in disappointment.
Probably wanted to go back to Georgia.
Oh, man. Nelson from Jackson. Morning, fellas. I'm late to the party, but I have a question about Coach Pope. He's doing an amazing job on the recruiting trail, but how would you assess his player development to this point? How to get better. Has to be better. I mean, it's no disrespect. It just has to be better. I mean, you have multiple guys come in, multiple guys transfer. The production at wide receiver wasn't where it needs to be. How's there any other answer besides that?
There's not.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie about that.
I know you're not. It's still not a fun question to answer.
No, it's not. But
it's not what it should be the last 2 years.
yeah, don't put me in this position to have to answer that question. That's what I say. Don't put me in this position. I don't. I mean, listen, there's a couple questions on here about wide receiver, and I've chose not to answer them because, like, I'm not thrilled with what I'm seeing right now. To be honest, just like I wasn't thrilled with what I saw last year. So I hope that the scrimmage that we put it all together and play well. Like, y'all, drops frustrate me because drops is nothing about skill. It's just concentration, man. It's really
work ethic and then applying concentration.
That's what it is. And some catches are harder than others, and yeah, you got to have a certain level of athletic ability. But like, if you can catch the ball as a 7-year-old tossing it with your dad in the backyard, you can catch the ball in routes versus air. Like, there's no excuses to be dropping the ball in routes versus air. It's a total lack of concentration.
Which, how do you have maybe this is digging a little too deep into it, but how do you have lack of concentration within the first week and a half of camp?
No. How do you have a lack of concentration in the first 20 minutes of practice?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's because the first, like the 10th day or the 8th day of practice is tough. You're sore, you're tired. I get it, but the first 20 minutes of practice, I need for you to be locked in, and especially when the camera's on, dude. For me, when scouts came in or we had visitors come in and there's a little bit of an audience, like that made me try to show out a little bit. I put a little hot sauce on it. Routes versus air, I might catch it, pretend like it's some guys in front of me, give a little juke, a little spin move, get upfield about 10, 15 yards. Like, Give me a little bit more, man. The lights are on. People are watching.
What if I told you Mike Matthews did that yesterday?
That's what I love that.
So here's what happened. We got to see periods 1 and 2. We get to watch them stretch, which actually serves a better purpose than it sounds, because that's when we do our roll call and we see who is there and who is not there, who is in a red non-contact jersey, who's practicing, who's not practicing. So stretching itself doesn't give us anything, but it allows the media to see who is at practice and who is not. Then we get to see a special teams drill, and then they go outside, and it varies by the day. Some days we get to watch 1 period of actual practice. Some days it's 2 early on in camp. I mean, the first day they gave us like 6 periods, and they just say you can't film these periods. You can only film the first 2. Or like yesterday, it was supposed to be we got to watch the first 2 periods of practice after stretching and special teams. You can video routes on air in period 1. You can't video in period 2. We get out there. I'm standing next to Austin Price. We're filming the first routes on air throw. Mike Matthews catches an out route of sorts right at the sideline, does a little toe tap and looks at the camera and says, "I thought I couldn't catch." Going back to the video from earlier this week, late last week, that was put out, highlighting the drops from the receiver. So Mike Matthews put a little sauce on it yesterday, and then Josh Heupel quickly said, "No video this period," even though going into practice we were allowed to video period 1, and he quickly changed his mind once we got out there.
So,
just to peel back the curtain a little bit. But hey, Mike Matthews was putting a little sauce on it. You said you wanted some sauce. He was putting a little sauce on it while we were out there, because it seems like he has seen the talk with the wide receiver room.
Hey man, let the media film. Rouse versus air. And if they drop it and they getting roasted on social media, let's not protect them.
Well, I'm not sure what Heupel's motive was yesterday. It may have been that they were just running routes and formations that they didn't want on video.
Now that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So that may have been the reasoning yesterday. I don't know. Now, the video that kind of circulated on Twitter, or the multiple videos that went viral amongst Tennessee fans, I think that was Saturday, and then we came back on Sunday and said we're not filming it today. And I believe the reasoning for that is because of the reaction it got on social media. But yesterday, again, they were running different stuff than we have seen this fall. So it may have simply been they just didn't want to put those routes or formations on video, although it wasn't nothing that we haven't seen before technically. So yeah, I don't know.
I get not wanting to put the formations and the different changes with the routes combinations. I get that. But
like they did red zone throws Tuesday, and they always say don't film red zone throws.
Yeah.
Which makes total sense. I don't blame them for that. But also, there's nothing more paranoid than a college football coach. Yeah. Every single one of them are like that.
Yeah, I don't understand the logic behind being so secretive over red zone throws, because I mean I just don't understand. But like I do understand how paranoid coaches are, and that's just how they are, and it's not just Heupel. It's every college coach. But I do stand by what I said. Like if there's a period of routes versus air, and that's open for media to film, and that's just one period, and we got tight ends or running backs or receivers dropping balls, and it's put out, and they getting roasted. Good, they should be roasted. They ain't locked in, because you're roasting them too. As a coach, you're roasting players who are not locked in and focused at the beginning of the practice. and player need to see it.
Yeah, I guess I agree with you. I guess Tennessee is thinking that when we're recruiting a 5-star receiver who could make a decision at any point, you don't want that 5-star receiver seeing the comments talking about Kelsey Pope or here we go, another year of not being able to rely on the receivers. I guess you don't want that 5-star receiver to see those posts on social media. I guess that could be the thinking as well, which makes sense. If I'm Tennessee, I don't want
I guess I get that.
Tristan Key to see those comments.
But I'll tell you this, too. When I was being recruited and the position coach that was recruiting me set me down on my official visit and we watched film, he showed me drops and said to me, you can make that play, can't you? You can make that play, can't you? I was like, yeah, I can make that play.
I come in and play right away.
Like, so seeing the receivers drop the ball made me realize, yo, I can come in and play right now. It didn't make me go, oh man, they dropping the ball. Now the comments
are different because
I didn't see all the comments from fans that was dogging the receivers for not making plays. But like, I look at it as an opportunity to come in and play early. That's how I look at it. But hey, man, it ain't a big deal. I just don't think players should be sheltered from not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the first part of practice. Like, criticism is part of it, man. Like,
not in today's society, Swain.
No, man, criticism is part of it.
It should be, but there's a lot of
part of it.
Young folks, and we all go through it as young people of learning to take constructive criticism. Some people take it better than others, and now in the day and age of social media and the internet, it's harder than ever to realize that the person on social media who's talking sideways to you over one clip who doesn't have their real name on social media and has a fake profile photo, like those people and their opinions on you don't matter. I mean, Elijah Herring spoke to the media yesterday and essentially said that he was depressed in January because he did not have the sophomore season last year that he wanted. And he said that it took getting off of social media and the internet for 2 months for him to get back to feeling like himself and having confidence. And he needed to get off social media and spend time, like truly spend genuine time with his family, taking his mom out to eat, taking his brothers out to eat, and not worrying about social media. But it takes going into your third year of college for some folks, and you're obviously built different, even though you come from a different time. Like, I don't think you'd have an issue with it today, just your old soul and personality. But you are a rare breed in that regard. And who knows, maybe if you came up having social media in middle school and high school like it is today, maybe you would be a little bit different than you are right now. So that's just not the way things are in our society right now in terms of taking criticism on the internet well.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand that. I've tweeted less than I've probably ever tweeted, probably since the time I actually got Twitter in 2009, which, I was kind of forced on. I didn't even want to get on. But I try to keep my opinions off of social media now. As I've gotten older and do more of this, I try to only stick to my work, post my work or share my coworkers' work or other former Vols, what they're doing. I try to keep it very surface level. Maybe have some lighthearted fun here and there. But former players? You meant former players, right? You didn't mean former Vols, did you?
Former players, yes. Former players share what they're doing. But people just get so angry and just will say the most outrageous things on social media. So for Twitter, who's not paying me, why am I going to continue to share my opinions on something that isn't real life and doesn't help me put food on the table for my family? And argue with people who I don't know, who are just going to talk sideways to me just because I have a different opinion than them. Why would I continue to put myself in that situation?
Golly, all these questions about receiver. Text box.
We're going to have to put a topic ban on the show.
I know, a limit, right? All right, 865-255-03, Ben McKee, GoVols 247. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Stay with us. When you are craving some quality barbecue, there's only one place to go. Dead End Barbecue. Dead End Barbecue has been featured on ESPN's Taste of the Town, the first barbecue restaurant on the SEC Network, CBS Sports, Headline News Tailgate Show, Amazon Prime's The Restaurant Comeback, Food Paradise, and named one of the top 100 barbecue restaurants in America. The search is over. Dead End Barbecue is located on 3621 Sutherland Avenue right here in Knoxville. You can even have it delivered right to your door through Chow Now. Visit their website at deadendbbq.com. Dead End Barbecue. The search is over.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Guys, don't live with tiredness or low energy. Get your life back with low testosterone therapy at Low T Center. Take the test, get fast results, and start TRT with Knoxville's leading experts in men's health. Now it's easier than ever with the new Engine X Health app, an innovation in healthcare technology you won't find anywhere else. Download now or book an appointment while the test is still free at fixmylowt.com. Fixmylowt.com.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. Fall sports can be a roller coaster ride for us fans. The excitement, drama, and passion will make us crazy sometimes. I can't manage the games, but I can help you manage your real estate needs while you're cheering on the Vols. Reach out at 865-694-5904 or contact me at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Swain Event fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. Listen, I understand, man, when you have a position that needs to step it up, and then you have a former player at that position that's still media, it's easy to say, hey, man, let's ask this guy. I get it. And they understand the challenge. I think the players over there understand the challenge and the opportunity. I know Kelsey Pope understands the challenge and the opportunity. Josh Heupel is responsible for making sure with the play calling and the play design and all that good stuff to give Kelsey Pope the tools to be successful. And they've brought in talent. They are in position to possibly get more talent at that position. They've already got more talent at the position, five-star talent. And so they're looking to continue to do that. And y'all heard me say it on this program. You got to help guys reach their dreams and goals, because it ain't all about winning. It's not all about winning games. Players want to win games. They want to go to a place where they can win, but they also want to go to a place where you're going to help them get to the next level. And so you look at Ohio State, you look at LSU, you look at Alabama, you look at Clemson. And these are teams over the years that we've seen, they've won championships, but they've also had receivers go to the league too. And that's how you go get other receivers and more receivers. And it takes on a life of its own. That's what has happened there at Ohio State. And so that's the next step for Kelsey Pope. That's the next step for, Josh Heupel. And defensive line is probably the only position right now on the team where it's rolling that way, where you're recruiting, you're developing, putting dudes in the league, and because of that, you're getting more players that want to come in and do that. It's kind of like what Rick Barnes got going on with five-star players. It didn't start out that way, but he had to take Grant Williams and Admiral and show people what he could do here with those players, and then it attracted the Kennedy Chandlers, the Josiah Jordan James, the Dalton Connects, the Chazaniers, and the Nate Aments. Like, that's what each position group has to do at Tennessee. You know, Willie Martinez has a long history of taking good players to the next level at DB, and he's done it multiple times here at Tennessee, this second stint, but he's about to do it again with Jermon McCoy, depending on, you know, how you bounce back from the injury. And so, you know, Tennessee running backs, you can maybe say that, even though, you know, Darrell Sims only was here 1 year, Dylan Sampson played 3 years under 2 years under a different coach, but 3 years altogether. But you had, you know, Jalen Wright, who was a draft pick. So getting them in, developing them, winning, getting them to the league, that's going to keep that cycle going. That's what you want to see. And that's what happened there in the early 2000s and late 90s.
Well, and there's a big commitment coming up for Tennessee football.
When?
The 19th, I believe. Savion Hyder. You don't think that
that's almost 2 weeks. I thought you was talking about sooner, Ben.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you're the one out here dropping keys on Twitter, not me.
I ain't dropping keys.
But to your point about developed players making it to the league and attracting recruits, I mean, Savion Hyder does not do a lot of talking, but the 5-star running back who is going to announce on August 19th between Tennessee and Michigan, you don't think that what Tennessee did with Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson is not part of his interest in Tennessee? Then you're mistaken. I don't know the inner workings of Tennessee's pitch to Hyder, but I'd be stunned if Darrell Sims isn't and Josh Heupel isn't selling Jalen Wright, getting him to the league, and Dylan Sampson. Wasn't Jalen Wright a 3-star as well coming out of high school, or am I missing?
Track guy who really wasn't a football player, but developed into a complete back. Yeah, I remember.
Back-to-back 3 stars Tennessee put in the league with Jalen Wright and Dylan Sampson, and now they're positioned for Deshaun Bishop to have a breakout year. I think Deshaun Bishop is going to prove to be one of the better running backs in the SEC, and Peyton Lewis, it doesn't sound too far behind him. So to your point about the development and it attracting recruits, I guarantee you that is a huge part of why Tennessee is neck and neck with Michigan for the number 1 running back in the country.
Jamel is active on the text box. Well, when one of our great wide receivers of our beloved team is frustrated with the wide receivers, we got questions. Yo Blank is the ambassador of catching passes. Yeah, I mean, my frustration ain't a secret. I mean, it dates back to last year. And so once we start balling out in the games, I'll be better. I mean, I always want the position group that I played to be good. No different than any other former player. Like, if you play D-line here, you're shaking your head when you see poor D-line play. No different than any other position. So, got to be better. Yeah, got to be better. Who should be the most watched competition? For me, it's the center guard spot at competition. Yes, I look at that. Obviously, the quarterback position should be the most watched, even though it doesn't really feel like one.
Well, I think it doesn't feel like one because we spent so much time talking about it. And
Just, you talking about media in general, or you and I?
Everybody who follows Tennessee football spent a lot of time talking about quarterback June and July. Ever since the Nico stuff, ever since Joey Aguilar committed, there's just been a ton of quarterback talk, and I think everybody understands at the moment. There just has not been an opportunity for separation. I bet you the quarterback conversation really picks up over the weekend and into early next week after scrimmage number 1. It just feels like everybody just kind of knows what it is. It just kind of is what it is with the situation, and little early for information in camp in that regard.
I mean, it doesn't really feel like competition to me. Like we've seen.
In what sense? Like just in terms of the coverage, or like you think somebody's running away with the job?
It just feels like this thing is set up for Aguilar to be the starter.
I think so long term, but like if they were playing a game this Saturday and not a scrimmage, like I think Jake Merklinger would be the starter.
Well, I mean, he should be.
Yes, he should
Aguilar
be.
has only completed a week of fall camp.
1,000%. That aside, the little bit of throwing that we get to see, Jake has thrown a better football than Joey. Jake is, I think Joey has more natural arm talent, but Jake is more consistent through the first 6 practices.
Okay, like I said, as he should. But there were also some reports about some throwing from those two where Aguilar looked better throwing on a run.
Yes, there's on that day for sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's on video and it's public, so I don't mind saying this. But I mean, there were some throws where Merklinger couldn't even get the football to the receiver in terms of arm strength on a bootleg. Now, I believe his first throw when they were doing some bootleg throws, and I think they were kind of crossing routes or something to that nature to the sideline, coming across the middle of the field, probably 15 to 20 yard throws on a rollout. The first one, Merklinger could not. I mean, he skipped to the receiver, hit him in the ball skipped and hit the receiver in the foot. But then he did come back and make a really good throw on his second one. So I did see him make the throw, even if he struggled with it. But outside of that throw, even yesterday, Merck throwing some deep balls when they opened it up. I mean, he was hitting the receivers in stride. So I do agree with what you're saying. And I think Joey is ultimately the quarterback, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't as sure about that as I was going into camp. I think that Joey's really, really going to have to prove himself. Like somebody last night, I do a little chat on GoVols 24/7 where folks ask me questions every Wednesday night, and somebody asked me who's the starting gun to your head, who's the starting quarterback against Alabama, and I said Joey because I think ultimately he has more natural arm talent. He should be comfortable with the offense by then, and I also think Tennessee's going to need his legs. I think that's the part that nobody's talking about is I think Tennessee's going to need his legs this season to add as a weapon to the offense because I just don't know how trustworthy the passing game is going to be. So, like, I agree with what you're saying. I think Aguilar long-term is the starter, but I'm not as sure of that as I was going into camp. I think Merck is closer in that long-term than maybe I initially realized.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, Merklinger should have the advantage after a week and a day of fall camp. And he needs to hold on to it if he wants to be the starter because the longer you go while this thing is close, the harder it's going to be because Aguilar is only getting more and more comfortable with the offense. So he brings the experience, which is something you just don't have. And it's going to take time for you to gain it. So you got to be that much ahead. So if you're Aguilar, you want this thing to be close after the first scrimmage. Like you don't want to lose it at the first scrimmage and play that poorly. And then the second scrimmage, you go take it. But you got to just take care of the football. And
like I mentioned the bad throw that I saw from Erklinger. I've seen Joey make some really bad throws as well.
Yeah.
And done so more often. My question would be, are those really bad throws? Now, they're routes on air, but is that because he is uncomfortable with, like, what he is supposed to be doing? Like, is his mind – we always talk about the mind tying up the feet. Is the mind tying up the arm in a sense? Is it a lack of comfortability, or is he just sporadic?
Well, he's just throwing to these dudes for the first time. Like,
yes, which I think plays a role in it.
Yeah,
but there's also been some bad misses.
Yeah, they just met. So, I mean, you're adjusting to people's, speeds. You adjusting to tendencies. It just takes time to do that, man. Running in shorts and t-shirts is different than running in full pads too. So, no different than throwing in it. So it just takes a little bit of time, really for everybody.
No doubt. I have a question for you before we wrap up with the text box.
Okay.
Scrimmage number 1, Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Ricky Gibson's going to be out there. He's a bit banged up at the moment, and seems like they're going to be very, very cautious with him. Sounds like he may be very limited participant the next 10 to 14 days. I would be surprised if he practiced on Saturday. Jamal McCoy is not going to be out there, obviously. Although it did look like yesterday, I think it looked like he was doing a little more cutting than we had seen at the very start of camp, and looked pretty good moving around, which is a positive. But my point is, you're going to be down Ricky Gibson, you're going to be down Jamal McCoy. So the receivers, who also have been in and out of the lineup, I mean, I don't know why Chris Brazel's first practice would be the first scrimmage of camp. Even if he's out there tomorrow, Tennessee's off today. Even if he's out there tomorrow, like I don't know what Brazel's participation level is going to be, given how much he has missed up until this point. But then Staley's been in and out. Mike Matthews is in a red non-contact jersey, so I don't really know what to expect from availability at the receiver position either. But with Ricky Gibson and McCoy out, I mean, what would you like to hear from the passing game that would make you feel good about the passing game coming out of scrimmage 1? Is there anything that could make you feel really good, given the absence on the other side of the ball?
Yeah. I mean, no drops. I mean, that would make me feel the best, because you can't control who's out there, who's not out there. But people who are out there, you create separation. The ball hits your hands, and then catch it. I mean, that would make me feel good. Honestly, I'm sitting here and I'm like, yo, man, it's kind of the same scenario it was last year when you had all these receivers out, and then you had that play that followed the fall camp last year. I just hope that doesn't happen again this year. Opportunity for some other dudes to get some key reps, and I think the coaches will have to be really careful about not running these guys to the ground, because we've had players with soft tissue injuries heading into fall camp. Staley and Mike Matthews had it last year, which slowed down their debuts as freshmen. So,
a sneaky storyline for Saturday that I wish I could watch. Hopefully the people that are there will watch. Tight ends versus backers. That'll be a fun matchup. Or even the tight end position against that star position. I'll be curious to see how much Boo participates. I don't know why he wouldn't, given he has been a participant in practice this week. But linebackers need to be better in coverage this year. That is one of the keys defensively, I think, this season. So, again, I've hyped up the tight end room. I'm not the only one, but the tight end room has been hyped up a lot these first couple of weeks of camp. So I'm curious to see how the linebackers cover it, how the linebackers handle them in coverage, because I'm still having nightmares about Georgia's offense picking on Tennessee's linebackers in Athens last season. That's something that has to be better this year. And but those linebackers have also gotten better. I love the linebacker room. We had a I'll let you answer it. But we had a question about Edwin Spillman earlier and the type of impact we think he's going to have, and him nipping on the heels of Jeremiah Thielander. Yeah, everybody's talking about Arion Carter and Jeremiah Thielander, but Swain, I kind of look at it as a three-headed monster with Spillman mixed in there. So the linebackers have gotten better as well. The tight ends have gotten better. That's a sneaky, if you love the nuts and bolts of football, if you're a football junkie, that's a fun matchup right there. Tennessee's linebackers versus Tennessee's tight ends.
I'm so immature, man. I'm so glad you said bolts. 865 255 03. So, I mean, what? Do you have any memories or your welcome to SEC moment, like a memory of you just cracking a dude on the long play or something? No, I was a victim of an SEC moment. Welcome to the SEC moment, because like I don't know what grade a guy's in the fire unless I'm going up against someone that's right in front of me. So the scout report against the DB, I know what grade they're in, all that good stuff. But like linebackers, I just know you by number and how good you are. Like I remember going up against Patrick Willis one time, and he had that club on his hand, and I saw his number. I was making sure he didn't hit me, but like anybody that I cracked, I didn't really know what grade they were in, to be honest. But I do remember my freshman year when I was standing next to a pile and not blocking someone, because like I blocked my man, and my man didn't make the tackle, and he wasn't on the pile, but I was near the pile, and the whistle had not blown, and the defensive lineman was in pursuit and hit me. It should have been a penalty. It would have been a penalty today. But, whew, I learned a lesson. Never stand next to the pile. Go find work. Go get busy until the echo of the whistle. That was my lesson. My freshman year against Mississippi State. I'll never forget it. Chris Hannon had 3 touchdowns in that game. He was balling. All right, anything we need to add?
Do you have any Edwin Spillman thoughts?
I mean, I heard his position coach, Coach Ian's, talk about how he is nipping at the heels of the other two, and he may get the advantage based on his ability to cover in the passing game. His length, can't just throw easy balls over the top of Spillman, man. Can't do it in that cover two. So he brings a different dimension to that room. He's super athletic. Now it's about being consistent. So I look forward to seeing him Saturday during the scrimmage. And you ain't sleep, Ben. You trying to throw out, hey, people that are there, hopefully they'll look and see the tight ends. I heard what you said, Ben.
well, good. Volfreak87 asked if the injury Joshua Josephs is dealing with is bigger than expected. No, it is not. It's a nagging injury that they are managing early in camp because there is still time before game week, and he's a veteran. He's been around the block. And Jordan Ross, will he be the next man up and be a playmaker for Tennessee this year? He's behind Josephs and Herring, but I do think that Jordan Ross is going to play, and I think he's going to contribute. He looks the part. He talked earlier this week about how he has grown mentally. He admitted out loud that he did not take last year seriously enough because he didn't think that he was going to be able to play given James Pierce Jr. and Josh Josephs and Caleb Herring. But he has kind of rewired his brain and coming at it with a different perspective. So I think Jordan Ross he's not going to, I'd be surprised if he surpasses the other two, but I think he's definitely going to contribute.
That's the point, man. You got to stay ready. Just because you're redshirt doesn't mean you can't, you need to, that you don't prepare like you're starting. Because when it's your turn, you're not ready. So I'm glad Jordan Ross said that, because that was my point with William Satterwhite to open the show. All right, Ben McKee, GoVols 247. I'll let you run and enjoy the rest of your day. Hope everyone does the same thing. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. We'll be back on Mondays. Tennessee scrimmage on Saturday. We'll have all that to talk about on Tuesday. So, again, hope everyone has a fabulous rest of your day. Great week. Swain Event fueled by Dad and Barbecue. Peace and love. We are out.